We are taught that money, cars, fame, fortune, houses are the end all be all of what it means to be successful. And until you get those things, you won't be happy. But then you get those things, Dr. Mo, and you're still not happy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Perpetual Motion, a podcast focused on personal growth, communication, entrepreneurship, and positive relationships. I'm your host, Dr. Mo Anderson. Each episode, I interview thought leaders from all over the world who share tips and tools that add immediate value to your daily life. My motto is expanding minds one word at a time. Here to help further my mission today is Lynita Mitchell-Blackwell. Lynita has built an award-winning law firm and publishing house. She is also a best-selling author, CPA, and an ordained minister. You're going to love this episode. It is just phenomenal. And I know you, like me, want to know what a drama emergency is. I love that term. Stay tuned.
You can't say Dr. Mo ain't tell ya that fear, man.
Welcome, Lynita.
Hey, Dr. Mo, thanks for having me on your awesome show.
I'm so excited that you're here. We just clicked at the pre-call. We have so much in common, including that we're both ordained ministers. So we are just in good company here. God got his people everywhere.
You know it.
Lynita, you made this profound statement. Well, I read it that really resonated with me. I'm going to quote it. The great resignation has made it clear that people want more out of life than to just be happy. They want to be fulfilled and have peace and joy. And joy comes from within. I agree with this so much. And this is the genesis of my first question. Why are so many people unhappy with their lives?
Dr. Mo, I'm so glad that you started there because that is the burning question. And the easy answer is because people, and I've been people, are always looking externally for validation, for answers, when it's always been within. And whenever you are using someone else's metric, someone else's rubric, someone else's measuring stick, you're always going to come up short. Because that is for them. You have your own. You know what your skills, gifts, and talents are. You know what your purpose is. And you know who you are, what you are, and how you serve. And you have to go out there and you have to run your race and do what it is you've been called to do. But as long as you're looking at someone else, you are going to be unhappy.
Wow. That's it in a nutshell. And so many of us are doing that, whether it's in that feed or the news or the whatever. There's so many things that can pour into you that are negative. And if you don't digest and regurgitate them the right way, you're going to be unhappy. So what can people do? I mean, this is happening. It's real. I mean, they keep doing surveys and polls. I'm like, okay, we've identified the problem. Let's talk about solutions. We don't need to keep talking about people are, quietly quitting. People are unhappy. People are anxious. People are depressed. Let's move. We've established it's an epidemic. Let's move to the next part, which is my question for you. What can people do to feel more energized, more engaged with their own lives, in addition to going within? What are some actionable steps?
Yes. So the first thing is to realize that you are not feeling life as it is right now. And that is hard because we have been taught that if there is a problem, then it's got to be us. And that is not always the case, particularly when we're talking about happiness. We have to be honest about what we're feeling and not try to gloss over it and pretend that it's not happy. The second thing, And then the second thing we have to do is we have to get help. And sometimes that is very hard, particularly if you're high achieving, right? Because you're used to going through life and doing things yourself. And there's nothing that you can't figure out, especially with this these search engines like Google and AI coming through, there is an instant answer for every problem. But we were not built to be alone. We were built to be in community and communion with one another. And so when there is something in front of us that is hard, we're supposed to reach out and ask for help. But I got to say, it's got to be the right kind of help. Because Dr. Mo, as I was going through this myself, I reached out to two different types of people. The first was a performance coach. I worked with Rowena Silvera Beck, who is an ordained minister in her day life, and she's also a performance coach. And she helped me to identify all the stuff that I was involved in and then made me whittle it down after asking, how is this serving me? How is this serving my purpose? And when those two questions were answered, I went from 7 pages of activities down to 2 pages of focused activity. And then I started working with Mona Joshi, who was over the Art of Living Foundation. And she taught me a series of breathing and meditation techniques to add to my prayer life. And that was huge because it meant that I was no longer looking externally at someone else's list of what success meant and looked like. It gave me the freedom and the capacity to create a list that was mine and for me. And this time it didn't include a bunch of stuff because particularly in Western communities, we are taught that money, cars, fame, fortune, houses are the end all be all of what it means to be successful. And until you get those things, you won't be happy. But then you get those things, Dr. Mo, and you're still not happy.
Hello.
And you know what I'm saying? And you realize you got one or two choices. You can continue to get stuff and continue to do the same thing over and over again, which is the definition of insanity, trying to get a different result. Or you can create your own metric of what success is and then look to joy instead of happiness. And I feel that the difference between joy and happiness is that happiness is external. I'm happy if it's sunny outside and I'm sad if it's raining. That means that there is something with the weather that is determining my mental state, my emotional state. I never want that, right? That means something and someone else has control over me. But joy means that I am grateful to even be able to experience the day, whether it's sunny or it's raining. I appreciate the fact that I can see the sun. I can feel the wind on my skin. If it's raining, that I know the difference between wet and dry. Little things that remind me that life is for the living. And in every instance, those things are there for us to enjoy, for us to grow and expand and to be better people.
Wow. There was a lot there. And you know, as you were talking, I talked to a lot of life coaches and a lot of personal development gurus, if you will. But it just occurred to me, we so frequently use the term, is it serving you? I mean, that comes up a lot in conversation. I've never asked anybody to break that down. I know what it means to me. But when she said that to you, is it serving you? For someone who may not be familiar with that expression or might be interpreting it in a different way, what did that mean to you when she asked, does this serve you?
So what it meant then and what it means now are different, because when she asked that, I was at the beginning of my journey. And I really thought that it meant more so, is this something that is adding value to my life? So it was a very individualized point of view. On this other side of it, with a understanding of the interconnectivity that we have, that we really are our brother and sister's keeper, that we were placed here for not just a purpose for our own, but to help other people to become the best people that they can be, to the best servant leaders that they can be, then I understand that now what she was asking me is this helping you to achieve your life purpose, which is to be a light in the world? And that metric has made it so easy, Dr. Mo, to eliminate things that are good and positive, but are not aligned with my life purpose. And so
Right.
when I'm working with other people, with my clients, I can ask them that and guide them through that process. And it makes it very easy to say yes and, well, no to things that come up. Because one of the things I tell folks, when you're successful, opportunities flow to you like water down the stream. They just keep coming. And so it makes it very important for you to be discerning about the things that you say yes to.
Right.
Because the things that are coming, they're good. They're in the stream. They're in the consciousness. They're good. But they are not always for you. They're not always for now. And you have to be able to differentiate whether you're supposed to say yes or no.
Beautiful,
and this process, gets you there.
And thank you for breaking that down. You were the perfect person. That's why it hadn't come to me to ask anyone to explain that before, because you were the person to do it and to distinguish that. I mean, it's just like scripture, something the way I interpreted it when I was 10 and when I was 20. And now that I'm 60, it's very, very different. But in the end, does it align with your purpose? Which also means you need to know your purpose. You can't determine if it's in alignment with it if you don't know what you're here to do. And there are coaches and people to help you with that as well, in addition to prayer. And then it's also easier to whittle down what it is. Because I mean, people like us, the high achievers, highly educated, we can do so many things. We can do them and do them well, but should you be doing them? And to that, you have to know your purpose, because I can help people doing a lot of different things, but what am I supposed to be doing? What are my gifts? And how am I supposed to be applying them? And you just nailed it. A+ for you. Back to achievement, right? Look at our Western way. Yeah, man, my star. I mean, and we start early. I mean, my grandkids, it's all about, did I get that gold star? Did I get that grade? Did I get that thing? It's all about checking the box. But what did it mean? What are you going to do with it? Okay, you got the star. Now what? That's not the end of it. That's the beginning. I'm sorry. I just, I had to get in there and and share a little bit.
You are my soul sister, because I tell people all the time, my race toward this epiphany in my life started with such well-meaning efforts with your parents. Work hard in school, get good grades, get a scholarship, go to college, work hard and get a good job, get married, have children, buy a house, do well in business, and you'll be happy, and you'll be happy. And you're just like, wait a minute. None of these things actually made me joyful. It was never continuous. Are you telling me I'm going to be on a hamster wheel for the rest of my life? That's a no for me.
And you just want more. Then you want the bigger house. You want the better car, because you constantly looking at what everybody else has. You just in a comparison, competitive thing, and shopping. It all ends up with a bunch of shopping. And that is not why we're here. And I like me some nice stuff, but I know that's not why I'm here.
Exactly.
All righty. What is the best use of, you've got this frustration and anger. I mean, that's just part of life. And there, particularly with so much injustice and unfairness and, from how wealth is distributed to, gerrymandering. There are a lot of things to give you righteous indignation. When that occurs, you trying to be joyful and living your purpose. The highest and best use of my time. But things happen and people will come at you, as you know.
Yes.
In addition to attracting good things and good people, you are going to attract those haters who are unhappy with their own lives. And so rather than work on themselves, they're going to find something wrong with you. But when you have that generalized frustration and anger, is there a way to use that?
Absolutely. That is fuel for you to make a different decision. When you are frustrated, be thankful. And I know that sounds crazy, but your frustration indicates that there is a problem and that something needs to be addressed. And sometimes it's something external. You're frustrated because the bed is not made. So you can make the bed, but then there's the underlying. If there was somebody else sleeping in that bed with you and they got out after you, my husband, then they need to be
all right now. The shade.
be the ones to make up the bed because you got up and got moving out the house. But if it's something a little deeper than that, right? A lot deeper than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you're on a job and you're making good money, but they treat you badly. And you have reported this on multiple occasions. Should you say? Because you're frustrated, you're angry, you've seen that nothing is going to change. I would say the answer to that at this point in time, in today's world, the answer to that would be no. But without that frustration, would you work hard to find something else? Probably not. Would you make a determination to start a new business? Probably not. Would you decide that you are going to share your story and how you did it in a book? Probably not. Those are all things that happen to me. And so I embrace frustration because I know that that means that it's an up-leveling about to happen, unless it's the bed get made.
Hey, hello. I got a couple of things over there. We're going to start with that frustration is one thing if that other person didn't make the bed. But if it's you didn't like the way they made the bed, you know, or you didn't like the way they washed the dishes, or nothing ever quite meets your satisfaction, even though people are trying, I'm just going to throw this at you. Address that for me. What might that indicate?
Oh, now that's something different. That's something within.
Right.
And this is perfect time for you to sit down and both pray and meditate. And Sri Ravi Shankar differentiated the two as being, first of all, you have to do both. Because praying is talking to God and meditation is listening to God.
Yeah, God talking to you.
Right. And my grandmother used to say, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you should do twice as much listening as you do talking. And so it is important that we take that time to sit down and to say to God, I am frustrated about everything that's going on around me. I don't like the way the bed is made. I don't like the way the dishes are being washed and put away. These things are minor and it is petty. And I need to get to the root, Lord, of what that is. Help me. And then shut up.
Hello.
And listen.
Hello.
Yeah.
It's petty and it's me. And that's a hard thing to say that about yourself. I've had to do it in the past and in the recently. But really, if things around you, just everything is a problem, everything, the only thing in common there is you. Yes. Everything is not wrong. The only thing in common there, if it's everybody you date, then you might need to look at the way you're making that decision. You know, who you swiping right and left on. But at some point, look in the mirror, what role do I play here? I knew you were going to say that. I'm glad you said that. You said it better than I would. But yes to all of that. Amen. Finger snap. I don't know what we're doing now, but I like the way you said it. I just love the way you said it. So the other thing there is, it is hard for us. We are not really taught to leave or to quit. And it is hard for some of us, many of us, some people, they don't have no problem with it. They're leaving in the middle of a sentence. But for some of us, we just think, I'm the salt. I'm going to change the flavor of this place. I'm going to stay here. But when it is systematic, sometimes leaving is the way you change it. You know, I always say don't leave it the way you found it. You know, raise some hell, HR, legal, whatever you need to do on the way out, if that's appropriate, if it's just personalities. But if you were, you know, there were legal issues, unprofessional things going on, then I believe you try to do something about it if it is within your ability. But why is it that it's so hard for some people to just say, you know what, I shouldn't be in this place anymore. I can't be in this place anymore. I got to go. Is it fear of the unknown or what is going on there?
First, it is the shame and embarrassment of making a mistake.
Yeah.
And we have not been taught in this culture that mistakes are part of the life process. From the time we were small, when we made mistakes, we got popped, we were punished, we were embarrassed, and we take that into adulthood instead of making the correction in our thinking and saying, those people were wrong to pop me, to punish me, to embarrass me. And I'm not going to do that to myself anymore.
Wow.
So that we've got to start there.
Wow. I never even thought about that. You are absolutely right. And we don't, you hear about companies where people are encouraged to try new things and it's okay to make a mistake, but that is not most companies. Not the ones I'm familiar with and not the ones my friends work at, but that's where so much innovation happens in science. My background, the majority of our great, inventions have come from somebody making a mistake and something good came of it. But it makes us afraid to try. It makes us afraid to take a risk. Oh, I love that answer. I'm moving to my next question because I could just stay right there. I'm gonna be honest. I'm having so much fun. This is so good. You got to stay in my life. I'm just putting it out there for everybody to hear in the universe because you are phenomenal.
The same way about you, Dr. Mo.
No, thank you, Lynita. Listen, you have coined a term. It's nice to look at. I'm probably not even pronouncing it right. I tried. Dramergency, is that it? Drama emergency merge. Dramergency. And it applies to most of my day. Most of my work day is a dramergency. I'm a firefighter. I don't look like it, but I put out fires. But seriously, what does that mean? And how do you navigate it? I don't think it's something good. It sounds like it's a problem in the way that I've applied it as a problem. What does it mean and how do we navigate around it?
So a dramergency is just what you said. It's drama and emergency put together. It's foolishness. And it's the things that we see coming a mile away. And instead of moving out of the way, we walk right toward it. Like but we do. We really do. Like we know there are certain people who call at certain times, normally in the morning, with craziness that we can't do a thing about.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we allow them to disturb our peace in the morning? These phones allow us to filter out all kinds of things, and yet we allow that into our lives.
Oh, my.
We do. And so one of the things that I did to help with that is I have my phone on a timer. Unless you are a star contact, and I don't have many of those, I don't get your calls between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. Because that gives me time to get up in the morning and do my prayers, my meditations, my stretching, and get my mind right. So that when the phone does ring, I can then make a decision as to whether I'm going to deal with that and how I'm going to deal with it. Emergencies are the things that can really hijack your day. Because for most of us, we have little things that happen during the day. But if you ask someone at the end of the day, how was your day? They normally say it was good. But when you have a day that starts with emergencies, and that sets the tone for how you respond to everything else, then you look at your day and you just like, it was rough today because it started with foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
But the foolishness is not necessarily that person or that thing. It is the way that you viewed it and the way that you allowed it to hijack you emotionally, spiritually, and sometimes even physically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I love that. I'm going to add on to it that for me, it's not for me, but for some people, because I don't do this, they wake up looking at social media. And I'm all over social media because it's a marketing tool. It's part of my business. But I am not waking up in the morning. I wake up, I pray, I stretch, I get my coffee. I am not waking up scrolling through other people's lives or whatever funny thing they had to say. But more often than not, it's some mess. It's some scandal. It's somebody kicking somebody's door in. It's somebody getting shot. That is not the way to start your day. That is not a positive thing to do. I can't remember. It was Megan, Cardi B, Carla Roy, somebody, one of those great gospel singers was saying that people wake up and it's something to the effect of you're looking at my post before you check on your kids.
Oh,
And yeah, that's deep. That is deep. You are stalking me. I think it's you're stalking me before you check on your kids. So you wake up looking to see what some celebrity has done before you go in there and kiss your kids and wake them up for school or your spouse or whomever. And typically things get posted and go viral, not because they're great, but because something bad happened. So that's the other thing I would caution against is be very careful how you start your day and, to your point, how you end your day. What you're pouring into yourself to start and to end it. And you might find that you feel a little better throughout the day and throughout the night. Yes. So how do you, my last question before we talk about your amazing new book, Live Life on Fire, great title. This question is, give us some tips, some really practical strategies, steps to move from this state of perpetual anxiety to a new, amazing life. And you've definitely shared some good things, but what would you say to that?
Sure. So the first thing is you have to find purpose in people and not in petty. And Dr. Mo, by that, I'm just, hey, and by that, I mean that when you are meeting with anyone or dealing with anyone, because sometimes it's going to be right in the four walls of your house, what you're dealing with, right? You have to remember that there's a reason that y'all were brought together. And it is important for you to address the reason, despite whatever is going on with the person in front of you. I had a client once, and he hired me, is paying me, but he actually asked me, does it really fulfill your life to, be fooling around with all this paperwork? Well, I could have found offense with that, but no, I said to him, I actually really enjoy helping people get their legal business straightened out. And without people like me who enjoyed it, where will you be? I didn't take it in personally. I just took it in stride. And I remembered why I was there so I could do a good job. And that's what we have to do. Whoever was standing on that X was going to get his foolishness.
Right.
It was not personal to me. And when it's no longer personal to you, then you can see the person for who they are and what they are, and then you can go on to how you serve. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you got to leave it all on the table. After you've done all that you can, you stand. That's what the song says, right?
Right.
So I would suggest that you do that in every area of your life. You give it all that you have, and then understand that sometimes all that you have on Monday is not all that you have on Friday. Forgive yourself for that and move on. You're going to be a better person on some days than others, some years than others, some decades than others. And that is totally and completely okay. The third thing is you got to unstretch yourself thin. You're involved. We're involved. I'm involved in a lot. Mm-hmm. From time to time, I would say maybe every 3 to 6 months, we need to reevaluate how we're spending our time and with whom we're spending our time. And we probably need to whittle it down some because the people that are in our ear, in our pocket, and sometimes that we are spending a lot of time with, they influence us. And if it's not a positive influence, particularly a positive influence on us growing and expanding into being the person that God called us to be, then it's time to take a break from that relationship, put that activity down, because as we discussed earlier, it might be good, but it might not be what we need to be doing right now. And then the last two actually go together, serving with purpose and living your model life. That involves you understanding who you are, what you are and how you serve, why you were called here. And then to live a life that when people see you, they come and say, what are you doing and how can I be down? But understanding that it was never about them seeing you. This was really about him being pleased with what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that gets kind of messed up. And I understand that because we're all human and we're living this life, right? We're spiritual beings having a human experience. That being said, when we realize what's going on, it's time to make a correction.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I'm assuming some of that great wisdom you just dropped is in your book, but tell us a little bit, just a little bit. We're short on time here. I wish we had more, but tell us a little bit about Live Life on Fire and how listeners can get a copy.
Absolutely. So Live Life on Fire, the ultimate guide to a successful life, to peace, joy, and fulfillment, is your cheat sheet to answer the question, what am I living for? It was inspired by the Oprah Viola interview last year on Netflix when Oprah asked Viola, so what are you living for? And Viola said, peace. I really, really am living for peace and joy. I just want to be happy. And I was just like, yes, that's exactly right. And so I carve it up into 4 sections on how to achieve that and what it looks like in your real life, business, professional, as well as personal. And so we look at breathing and meditation, going into silence, living in flow, and living your awesome and amazing life. And I am asking you to do it with me because I still have my law firm as well as the coaching. And so I'm not asking you to do something and that I'm no longer doing it. I'm walking side by side with you. And you can get my book in all forms, Audible, ebook, hardback, and paperback on my website, LynitaMitchell-Blackwell.com, or on Amazon.
Lovely, lovely. And do you narrate the audiobook?
I do.
Nice. I have an audiobook from my book, Success is a Side Effect. Girl, that's a whole nother show. I thought that was going to be an easy process. Ooh-wee. So let me tell y'all something. When you see people doing, I don't care if it's Michelle Obama or our lovely guest, Lynita Mitchell-Blackwell, that's some work right there. It's like recording a couple of albums, and I can't wait. I was hoping to get the opportunity to read it before our interview, but my schedule's been a little tight. I need to do some purging as well, but I look forward to reading it, and definitely want you back on the show again. There's so many topics we couldn't even get to. You've been an amazing guest. Thank you, Lynita.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Mo.
It's been a pleasure. And thank you, listeners. I hope it's been a pleasure for you as well. Please visit my website also at drmoanderson.com. That's MOE Anderson for more about my books and events, or to message me about speaking for your group. You can also engage me for speaker coaching for yourself. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you're notified about new episodes of Perpetual Motion each week. Until next time, be well and be careful. Thank you. And wasn't that a great program? Oh, love that episode. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Learn more about me on my website, drmoanderson.com. That's MOE. You can read book excerpts, watch videos, learn about my services that I offer, and book me for a speaking engagement. I'd love to talk with your group, and I'd love to work with you. So until the next time, review, renew, and renew. Thank you.